closer, and it turns out it's my uncle, Al, who's an anesthesiologist at Mass Eye and Ear, which is connected to Mass General Hospital. And I said, Myo what? He said, myocarditis. And that's the first time I ever heard the word myocarditis. And while I'm sitting there sort of trying to backtrack everything that had happened, I started trying to figure out how I'm in this bed and why I'm waking up out of this bed in Massachusetts when I went to the hospital in New Hampshire. And I started backtracking, and I remember actually the day before, or the night before I got sick, having a really fun time, had my first date with my now girlfriend, and coming home feeling very excited, you know, love is in the air, all that, and I had been asking her out for a long time and got rejected, and so I finally, things seemed to be going well. And then I sat down that night after the date to work on my last law school paper. It was maybe 3 or 4 weeks before graduation from law school. And I remember kind of being excited to actually write a paper because it was the last one I was going to have to do. And as I was typing, I had a total out-of-body experience. It felt like one foot was in my body, and then one foot had left my body. And I remember thinking consciously, oh, I could walk through a wall. And then I pinched myself and realized that it didn't really seem to be bound in reality at all, and I should just go to bed and sleep it off. And maybe a couple hours later, I got really bad sweats and started throwing up, and said, oh, that girl gave me the flu. and I just had the flu. And actually, a couple weeks earlier, I had the sniffles, and I just never got over that. And so the next day, I had set my alarm for something like 4 or 5 in the morning so I could actually finish the paper. And I just kind of laid in bed, not really able to move, and said, wow, I really have the flu very bad. I never had the flu, and everybody that ever told me that when they had the flu, they always said they felt like they were dying. And I really felt like I was dying. So I just chalked it up to my first flu experience, and actually proceeded to try to get ready for work, and realized that I guess physically you can't go to work when you're kind of walking on your hands and knees, and went back to bed. And it was a really nice, I remember, you know, it was a really nice day. It was really that first day of spring in April where you can actually go outside and do nice things. And my roommates, 2 female roommates, knocked on my door. I said, don't open up the door. I don't really feel that great today. And they said, oh, we're going to the beach. Just want to know if you want to come. I was like, no, I'm going to stay here and get over the flu. And then they left, and I just remember trying to get a glass of water all day. And I would collapse every time I would try to make it to the sink and wake up off the ground. And I was like, wow, I'm really tired. Law school's really warm. I just kept on chalking it up to a million other things. And so it wasn't until maybe 3 or 4 that afternoon that I had fallen so hard that I cracked my rib and displaced my jaw. And I called my dad, who's a doctor, and told him what type of day I'd been having, and he said, you need to go to the hospital now. And so I was barely dressed. I called up a friend. He said he could come up and pick me up, which is very nice because he actually had a final exam that day. And so he came, missed his final exam, picked me up in his PT Cruiser. And I remember the look on his face because I couldn't find shoes, and I put on my roommate's high heel shoes. And my undershirt was on backwards, and I'm not even sure why I wore pants. And I just kind of like, you know, try to walk to his car, and he's like, are you okay? I'm like, well, I don't really feel that great. So when I got to the hospital in Concord, New Hampshire, I realized I couldn't walk, probably because I was wearing high heels, but also because my heart rate was about 20 beats per minute, unbeknownst to me. And so he ran and got me a wheelchair, and I rolled up to the front desk. And the first thing I said to the lady was, I need a drink. And I've been passing out all day, and she just thought I was drunk. And I could see why, because I was not wearing the appropriate clothes, and I wasn't being very specific about my day. And it wasn't until they weighed me on a scale, or I stood up maybe an hour later, and the next thing I knew, I collapsed, and they were shocking me back to life, and the doctors asking me if I had any genetic heart conditions, asking me, or telling me, ordering me to stay awake, and I believe they gave me adrenaline and many other things. And so that was basically how I got sick. It was fast. I thought it was the flu, and I just sort of chalked it up to all these other reasons why I was sick. I had no chest pain. I had no idea it was anything going on with my heart. I kind of thought it was a normal thing until my jaw and my ribs were much pain. And my dad, lucky enough as a doctor, I'm not sure if he recognized it as being as myocarditis, but he recognized it as being not something that should be happening if you had the flu. So that was, and then the next day they gave me a pacemaker, and unfortunately I had brain swelling and kidney and liver and other issues going on, and fluid in my lungs, and my oxygen levels were very low, so they induced me into a coma, and then they life-flighted me to Mass General Hospital. I'm not sure when, I'm assuming a couple days later. And the recovery was interesting. It came at a time in my life where I was already going through a pretty big transition. I had to graduate from law school, and I had signed up to take the bars and had a job. So I decided to just try to keep going. The doctors told me to take a year off, and I didn't think that was the right thing for me. So I decided to study for the bar and do all the stuff I planned to do, regardless of how health was. I'm not sure if that was the smartest thing, but I'm glad I did that. Passed the bar, which was which I didn't think I was going to be able to do because my brain had been compromised. I feel it was very cloudy and very grueling task to study over that material. Try to, be awake for an hour, sleep for 8 hours, be awake for another half an hour, study, sleep for 8 hours, again, just always sleeping. But what I learned from the experience was, first, my family. I have a great family, 2 sisters and a loving brother, and 2 great parents that were really there for me. And I know my parents had lost a child, not from myocarditis, but through a tragic accident. And I know what losing a child had done to our family, and it was a very, very hard thing for a family unit to go through. And so I saw my family be really connected. I always said I didn't have a lot of friends in law school, but I realized that there were people coming down, sending me letters or cards that I hardly even knew in law school. People that, even some visitors, I maybe did a project with this girl named Holly Stevens once in law school. She came down and visited me in the hospital. And there was just like a lot of outpouring showing how many people cared about me at law school. And I just realized I had really great doctors and nurses that were very kind to my family and very kind towards me through the whole process. And a few months later, I decided to really look into the myocarditis. What was it? I never really got a good grasp. Each doctor would tell me their take on it, and it just didn't really seem, didn't really make a whole lot of sense of what myocarditis was. And so I found the Myocarditis Foundation, and sent them an email, and Lindsay called me, and I really think that they do a lot of great work at this foundation, and I'm glad that they sent the invitation to me. And there isn't a day that goes by that I don't think about you guys as families and the victims of myocarditis. And I just want to say that you guys are always in my thoughts, and thank you for letting me speak.